Good afternoon. You are in time for the Lunchtime News. A very warm welcome to the broadcast. My name is Irene Muchuma Odem. On sign language interpretation, we have Lensa Odingo. Now, the hearing on Affordable Housing Bill 2023 is coming to a close this afternoon in Parliament. We'll be crossing over live in a bit. But for now, let's interact on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. This as we begin from the county of Nairobi in Embakasi, where we had the Muradi gas explosion. I do understand a number of political leaders have been able to be in Embakasi. My colleague Giverson Maina is on that beat. He says party leader for Wiper is currently speaking. Let's cross over and listen in.
Kuna wale ambao wanahusika directly, wengine indirectly. Na mimi nimekuwa nikiconsult na wakili wengine hapa. Kuna umuhimu vile Mheshimiwa Raila na Sifuna waliofika kule walitangaza kwamba kwa maoni yao waathirika wote wangelipwa kiasi fulani $500,000. Na mimi naona inaweza hata kwenda juu kulingana na maumivu ambao kila mtu ameyapata. Mimi kwa pande wangu nitauliza wanasheria wenzangu tushirikiane. My law firm can go on record along with others, and we are clear we may have to sue the following. Number one, permanent secretary for the
Wiper party leader Kalonzo Musyoka addressing attendance where people who have been able to be at the site where we had Muradi gas explosion. These, as we have had varied opinions in regards to the incident. These, as police are also holding a number of people in regards to the incident. Now, in other news, this afternoon, police in Kitui County are investigating an incident in which a 27-year-old man reportedly committed suicide at his home in Mwengi. The father of two is said to have been suffering from depression. According to his mother, 2 months ago, he attempted to commit suicide but was saved. The deceased, Peter Kimuli, is said to have burnt his clothes, those of his spouse and children, before hanging himself with a rope on the roof of his house. His body has been moved to Mwengi Level 4 Hospital mortuary.
Peter alikuwa na maneno. Peter alikuwa mfanyakazi mzuri. Na sijui ni nini ilimpata.
Kuna maneno mingi sana. Manake usipoogelesha mtu hauwezi jua shida yake ni nini. Lakini mimi nikiangalia mzuri, ukiona mtu anajinyonga, kuna shinda fulani yako nayo.
The spouse of Deputy President Dorcas Rigathi is calling for tougher measures to deal with drug peddlers. This comes amid calls for the government to tighten regulations to combat the use and distribution of illegal substances. Kiambu County, the Deputy Governor, Rosemary Kirika, announced the initiatives aimed at supporting rehabilitation efforts and offering counseling services to drug addicts and persons partaking illicit alcohol.
And the law is very lenient to the murders of our children. It is time to speak against it. And the one who can speak, it is the church. That is why on the altar I am saying this must stop.
You follow up with our clinics in all the government hospitals, because in our hospitals we have experts, counselors who can work with you and lead you to recovery.
The Center for Mathematics, Science and Technology Education in Africa, Semester, has unveiled its second round of outreach and mentorship program aimed at scaling up the uptake of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM. related subjects by junior secondary school learners. The outreach aims to remedy some of the stereotypes associated with mathematics and science subjects among learners.
Thing is now like this. So when you are using your teeth, you crash.
In a bid to make learning of science, technology, engineering and mathematics subjects more student-centered, the Center for Mathematics, Science and Technology Education in Africa, CEMASTEA, conducted its first day of the outreach and mentorship program at Idenguri Primary and Junior Secondary School in Nyeri County.
You can be able to read data and you can be able to play the music and everything.
Special Programs and Student Learning Coordinator at CEMASTEA, Beatrice Macharia, noted that the mentorship will inspire the current crop of JSS learners to take up the same pathway once they transition to senior secondary school in 2026.
Our focus this year is on the JSS because of the transition. Remember, with the pathways, one of the pathways is the STEM pathway. And in that STEM pathway, we expect that during the transition from JSS to the senior school, we shall have 60% of the JSS students transiting to STEM pathway.
Teachers at Idenguri Primary and Junior Secondary School expressed confidence that the program will aid in enhancing the learning experience for the learners.
Since now my learners have seen, physically seen and touched most of the items that we have learned in class, now they have the mental picture and we can be able to now make learning more understandable.
In Nyeri, the week-long exercise will be conducted in Idenguri, Ihuagi, Munaine, Kiahuko and Nyahururu Junior Secondary Schools. Besides Nyeri County, the center is also targeting to reach a total of 25 schools in Kilifi, Uasin Gishu, Baringo, and Garissa County.
Is it working?
For Lunchtime News, I'm Joseph Wahungu.
Surface.
The Kenya Union of Domestic Hotels, Educational Institutions, Hospitals and Allied Workers has called on the government to set up a proper structure and harmonization of salaries for all non-teaching staff working in learning institutions in the country. This, according to Kudeya, should be done before the rollout of the recent directive by the Ministry of Education on institutions to e-citizen as a mode of receiving payment. Kudeya Secretary General Albert Njeru says if the e-citizen payment plan will be rolled out in learning institutions without proper mechanisms, non-teaching staff will suffer the most as they are paid directly by institutions.
And be looked upon because there are no mechanisms, there are no harmonizations, there are no job description, and there is even no rationale on who to employ and when to employ. As we appreciate that, and as we talk about that, on behalf of Kenyan workers in the education sector, it is high time we are asking His Excellency, the Ministry of Education, and all stakeholders, as we go to e-citizen, first and foremost, we must have public opinion discussion. The advantages and disadvantages, the gaps and the challenges, so that the end result, all of us, including the parent, can understand, can know, and really be of knowledge what it means to have e-citizen in place.
Samburu County has launched an initiative to improve sanitation for residents by introducing Manyatta-like toilets. The initiative is aimed at ending open defecation that is a common practice among the pastoral community. Area residents lauded the initiative, noting it will reduce diseases associated with poor hygiene, especially during the rainy seasons.
Sasa hivi ni kama tumepata tukasaidiwa na watu wetu wa afya wa elimu ya afya, basi tu wametusaidia, wametuletea hiyo tools, tukashimba show, tukajaribu yani mahali tunaweza
Wetu wa nyanjani hasa health promoters pamoja na hao madaktari wengine wamekuwa wakitembea kwa hizi vijiji yote kuhakikisha ya kwamba wanajua umuhimu ya choo, maana umuhimu ya choo inazuia magonjwa mengi.
Wizara yetu ya health wameanzisha. Ningependa sana kuhimiza hawa waendelee na hiyo mtindo ili tuendelee kuwa na usafi kati yetu.
The county government of Trans Nzoia will now take over the management of Kitale Museum. This is after signing an intergovernmental partnership agreement with the National Museums of Kenya to manage the 33-acre Kitale Museum. The move is aimed at enhancing service delivery. Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya says this is in line with the constitution and they will ensure the museum is well maintained as a tourism attraction center. Culture and Heritage Principal Secretary Omi Bashir has assured the nation that the transfer of such functions will not hinder the performance of museums. The National Museums of Kenya has already initiated a process to transfer other museums in other 6 counties. This include Wajir, Narok, Isiolo, and Marsabit.
We are fulfilling one of the expectations of our 2010 Constitution, that there are functions devolved to county governments. Museums is one of them. And on this occasion, we have a situation where we have not only transferred the function, but also the museum itself and the assets which go with it.
Haya majukumu yako in the right hands. Nataka kuhakikisha kwamba kama kaunti ya kwanza kupata yale majukumu ya museums, hatutaharibu.
We're not devolving all the museums, just to be clear. But when I say that, I mean that there are some that are UNESCO world recognized. So we're not devolving those ones because that's the responsibility of the national government. We have devolved 61 libraries, and I strongly believe the counties have the capacity and the capabilities to run those libraries and also museums accordingly.
I want to give the commitment of the government and especially this administration of His Excellency William Samoei Ruto. This is not just going to be happening for the museums alone, but all the remaining other functions. We had embarked on a journey to validate the transfer of all the remaining functions, and the President has also pronounced himself in different forums, in summit, in our first retreat as a new government, and the goodwill and everybody is in this to ensure that devolution works.
Machakos Governor Wavinya Ndeti has flagged off a consignment of assorted foodstuffs for distribution to all public early childhood development education centers across the county. The governor says the move is aimed at promoting holistic early learning. Wavinya announced her government will remain focused on establishing a strong foundation for holistic learning in ECDE centers. The Phase 2 free school feeding program by the county government comes barely 2 weeks after the governor launched Maziwa ya Mama program, an initiative to provide free milk to ECDE pupils in public institutions across the county of Machakos.
Now come to assembly led by majority leader. Makofi mazuri, asante sana.
Tumeleta chakula na hiyo tulianza last term. Hii tumeleta tena na tutaendelea kuleta kila term. Watoto wetu waweze kupata chakula. At least kama there is protein, tumeweka protein hapo na starch. Na kuna maziwa. Tukipatia watoto hiyo kwa shule, na wao wakirudi nyumbani, kina mama wahakikishe kuna cabbage, kuna spinach, waongezee hapo jioni watoto wakule. By the time mtoto anaenda kulala, amekula balanced diet. Na hii ndio nimeamua mimi kama mama, nihakikishe hiyo imefanywa. This massive food disbursement exercise to our ECD centers is happening throughout the 9 sub-counties. The portion disbursed to each region was informed by the enrollment rates in each ward.
The Attorney General is this afternoon giving his presentation to the National Assembly Committee on Housing and Finance. This as the hearing comes to a close this afternoon in Parliament. Let's cross over and listen in.
With the current bill being number 75 of 2023, which I think was read for the first time on the floor of the House just before the House went to recess on or around 6th or 7th of December. Now, Mr. Chairman, as I said, everybody and many people in Kenya have been following what Parliament is doing, and there have been varied views that have been expressed, and I'm sure that it is best that I leave it to the wisdom of the House, because it is the House that has got the exclusive mandate to make and make laws. The power of the House under Article 94 is clear. It is the House that will make or unmake. And therefore, what the executive or any other person that proposes any legislation has to do is just to present to the House and leave it to the House to deal with the proposal as it finds appropriate when finally the House, the matter is put to the vote. Now, specifically, Mr. Chairman, in the letter inviting the Attorney General, there are 5 issues that have been raised, and I think they are the ones that I would, with the permission of the members, wish to address, so that then we can discuss any areas that perhaps the committee members may feel that we need to discuss. The first issue that was raised in the letter, Mr. Chairman, I hope I have your permission to now go straight to that. The first issue is, as per the letter, the interpretation and potential overlap regarding the housing function in the 4th schedule to the Constitution, specifically as the bill is currently crafted. Number 2 is whether the bill has effectively addressed the issues raised by the court. That's in the Majanja decision. Number 3, the existence of the Housing Fund and the structures under the Housing Act, and whether there will be potential overlap, duplication of functions with enactment of the bill.
The Attorney General appearing before the Johanna Ngeno chaired committee. This as the hearing on Affordable Housing Bill 2023 comes to a close this afternoon. Next week, there will be a debate in Parliament before the parliamentarians decide whether the bill will move to the President for assent or not. Now, in other news, in regards to wildlife, the Kenya Wildlife Service has deployed a problem animal management unit team to Embakasi area in Rongai, Kajiado County to identify any surrounding hyena dens within human settlements. This comes after a multimedia university student was mauled by hyena on Monday night at area in multimedia, triggering protests from students of the institution. Already, one of the hyenas has been killed by the team.
In a statement released by the Kenya Wildlife Service, a veterinary team accompanying the problem animal management unit are investigating the hyena carcass to ascertain whether they could be infected with rabies or other zoonotic diseases after partial human remains were found at the scene and later retrieved by police. The incident, which occurred last Monday night, left the 21-year-old actuarial science student severely injured. The attack prompted a street protest by students blaming the Kenya Wildlife Service for negligence.
We would like KWS to look into the matter. They should fence their premises first, because as you can see that it's not fenced, and they should regulate the animals so that students will be safe.
As you can see, they haven't fenced their premises, and it's one of the main reasons why we have such cases.
The Multimedia University management said the institution is now working with the Kenya Wildlife Service to avert such cases in future.
We work with the KWS to ensure that in case of any incidences, we try and maintain. And also I think we need to be alive to the fact that also animals have their own rights. They are living beings. They have been here with us all this time. So we consider our baboons and our warthogs as some of our pets and a good attraction to the university.
The Kenya Wildlife Service has, however, called upon residents in the area to be vigilant since the southern part of the Nyahururu National Park is not fenced and is a wildlife migratory corridor. For Lunchtime News, I'm Alvin Kaunda.
Makongeni bus terminal in Thika, Kiambu County is undergoing a facelift following the installation of lights and tarmacking of the facility. The county government says the market is expected to operate for 24 hours to enhance economic activities. Traders expressed optimism the new business environment will enhance trade. The county government is also expected to put up modern stalls within the terminal. Investors at the park called on the county government to fast-track the completion of the remaining works to enable them to resume operations smoothly and in a better environment.
Kaa nyumbani na sasa tuko hapa kwa uwanja, tumefurahi juu tunaona kazi yetu itaendelea, hatutashinda tukiomba pesa.
Hapa kulikuwa kunajaa matope, hata watu kukuja hapa kusafiri kuambiwa hapa ndio stage ilikuwa changamoto.
Hata wakati ulikuwa unaleta abiria ulikuwa unashindwa utawashikisha wapi, lakini saa hii tunaona kuna matumaini ya mambo mazuri. Lakini bado kando na hivyo tunaweza omba hata serikali kuu, kama vile hii serikali ya kaunti imefanya kazi, serikali kuu nayo tuangalie kwa upande wa mafuta.
Over 1,000 learners from Igwamiti Ward, Nyahururu sub-county in Laikipia County have benefited from 5 million shillings worth of bursary. Speaking in Munyaka Secondary School in Nyahururu town during the issuance of the funds, Igwamiti Ward MCA Irene called on the government to consider allocating the bursary kitty according to population size, promising to ensure the county government allocates more money in the next quarter to education bursaries to ensure as many learners benefit.
94,000.
Education is the key to everything. And two, the levels of development are normally directly proportional to the levels of education. So if we educate more, then we expect more development.
Anti-female genital mutilation crusaders have termed the practice as invasion and violation of the girl child's privacy and rights, which should be eradicated. Speaking during the International Day of Zero Tolerance to FGM, the group at the same time urged communities practicing the cultural vice to abandon it for the future of the girl child.
While marking the International Day of Zero Tolerance to Female Genital Mutilation at Nyankongo Primary School in the outskirts of Kisii town, the Crusaders say they can't inflict physical and psychological pain to the victim, among other challenges.
Child protection and welfare policy. We also have the gender policy and the youth policy. Soon we are working on the social protection policy, and what we believe is that these policies, when in place, will be able to support the government and the other stakeholders to work towards promoting rights and the welfare of the child, and especially towards eliminating female genital mutilation in Kisii.
Gender and development expert Dr. Magdalene Gisare said it was high time for the communities practicing FGM reviewed some of its cultural practices.
That we address this from the cultural perspective. Everybody who's going out there taking their daughter to be cut, the logic behind that still remains cultural. So as a community, while we are saying we bring to an end FGM, we should also sit down as a community and address the cultural aspect that brought this on board.
In Garissa County, stakeholders have resolved that more action needs to be done to eradicate female genital mutilation and boost the gains made so far.
The effects of FGM is the overbleeding and maybe might lead to death.
Now people have resorted, the community has resorted to seeking, using anesthetics, what is it called? Anesthesia. They administer anesthesia to the girls to lower maybe its painful consequences.
In case wapatane na hili changamoto la kukeketwa, waje watu pashe ile habari na tutajua jinsi ya kuwasaidia. At least tumepewa kuna kodi ya kutuma SMS, kuna hata namba ya kupiga. Tumejua namna tunaweza wasaidia.
Garissa is among 22 counties with the highest prevalence of FGM. According to UNICEF, an estimated 574,000 Kenyan girls are at risk of undergoing FGM between 2022 and 2030 if urgent action is not taken. Kasichana Masha, Lunchtime News.
Welcome to Channel 1 Business. In a bit, we'll be having an interactive segment where we'll be talking matters nuclear energy. But before that, let's have a look at other news making headlines this afternoon in the world of business. The Pest Control Products Board has rolled out a crackdown on use of unregistered and banned pesticides in the country. The board's Coast Regional Manager, Stanley Nganga, says the efforts have yielded interception of a consignment of unregistered pesticides at the port of Mombasa.
The Pest Control Products Board has raised concern over an influx of unregistered and counterfeit pesticides in the Kenyan market. The board has confiscated a 23-ton container at the port of Mombasa that had undeclared pesticides.
Baada ya kuandika hiyo barua, baadaye tukapigiwa simu kutoka KRA na pia tukatumiwa email. Tukaambiwa kwamba hiyo container ya bidhaa ambazo kwa tunashuku hajatimiza sheria na yule ambaye alikuwa analeta hana leseni ya kuingiza hizo dawa zilikuwa zimetolewa.
A multi-agency team has been formed to tackle the banned and undeclared pesticides.
Jana tulipata takriban kilo 300 ya dawa ambayo ni haramu ambayo ilikuwa inaenda kule sehemu za Kabati, Kenol. Dawa hiyo ilikuwa inasemekana kwamba inatumika kuzuia wale wadudu ambao tunaita forced codling moth ambao sana sana huharibu michungwa, ndimu na pia pamba.
Wale wachuuzi wenye wanataka kufanya hii biashara haramu wanafaa kufahamu ya kwamba bodi ya kupambana na hizi bidhaa imeweka mikakati kabambe na tutahakikisha kwamba hiyo biashara imekomeshwa.
Kenya farmers spend about 10 billion shillings annually to purchase pesticides, with half of the procured chemicals banned in Europe, which is one of Kenya's key export markets. Denson Ruba reporting for Lunchtime News.
Inflows from the World Bank, IMF and multilateral partners are expected to anchor the stabilization of the shilling that has been under pressure in recent months. Central Bank Governor Dr. Kamau Thuge says the regulator will utilize tools at its disposal to protect the shilling if there is excessive volatility.
Speaking at a post-monetary policy committee briefing, Central Bank Governor Kamau Thuge said the exchange rate has overshot the equilibrium value and the central bank might intervene if there is excessive volatility.
Could be scope for central bank to support the exchange rate going forward.
He says additional dollar inflows from multilateral lenders and development partners are likely to support the shilling.
The Trade Development Bank also has made some disbursements, almost 400 million within the last 2 months. We're also expecting disbursements from the World Bank around March, April of almost, according to the Treasury, of about $1.5 billion. In addition to all that, of course, we have seen some interest by foreign investors in government securities. We are in the process of issuing the infrastructure bond, and we have seen significant foreign interest.
He says Kenya expects to access the international capital market, noting that the official forex reserve might be tapped if need be to pay off the $2 billion Eurobond, which matures this June.
We have engaged our lead managers, and we expect our lead managers to tell us when it's appropriate, when the market is appropriate for us to be able to access capital markets, to be able now to deal with the Eurobond that will be falling due in June of 2024.
Dr. Thuge projects a rise on non-performing loans following the increase of base lending rate from 12.5% to 13%, which has pushed up the cost of credit.
Yes, indeed. Of course, we are concerned about the non-performing loans and what impact the rising interest rates would have on them.
Wari Mujenga for Lunchtime News.
Well, Kenya has since the year 2010 been interested in developing nuclear power to meet energy needs. However, these plans have remained in the pipeline, with the actual dates for setting up nuclear plants postponed several times due to a number of factors. Today, the target is to have 1,000 megawatts nuclear power plants and running by the year 2038. The first power plant is set to be constructed in Kilifi County. As public participation now continues, residents have raised concern over the safety of the project as well as its potential environmental impact. This afternoon, we speak to the CEO, Nuclear Power and Energy Agency, Justice Wabuyabo. This afternoon, we'll be looking at the insights. Is it time for us to have nuclear energy? Welcome on set, Mr. Justice.
Thank you, Irene.
What is
Thanks
the
for having me.
for nuclear energy in Kenya?
Thank you very much, Irene, for that question. And just to correct what you said earlier, the intention for the government of Kenya to onboard nuclear technology in the generation of electricity is set for 2036 and not 2038. So the government is working to ensure that by 2036, we are able to actually generate electricity from nuclear technology. Now, a nuclear power program anywhere in the world, like for us being a newcomer country, there are a number of stages that a country will have to go through, which are guidelines that are given by the United Nations body that is responsible for nuclear activities across the globe. And that body is known as the International Atomic Energy Agency. So they have three phases that a country has to go through. First of all is to make a knowledgeable decision about going nuclear. Then there's the process of preparations for construction of a nuclear power plant. And then there's the commissioning stage. Now, according to that milestone, Kenya has really already made the decision to go nuclear by incorporating nuclear as one of the energy sources. So that has already been done. And we are in the second phase where we are doing preparatory activities like developing the workforce that will work in the nuclear plant, developing the legal framework, the legal and regulatory framework, and carrying out activities of stakeholder engagement and public participation so that we have as many Kenyans as possible understanding what this program is about, how it affects them, and how they will interact with it. So according to this time schedule, we hope to start the procurement process in 2027 and start the construction so that by 2032, we are able to have the president come and switch on the first nuclear power plant in this country.
But there have been quite a number of concerns whether this is an environmental friendly initiative, and also is it safe for Kenyans? What is your take in regards to that?
Thank you very much, Irene. As you may know, any project will have an effect on the environment, and the nuclear project is no exception. And following the legal framework in this country, we have the Constitution and we have the Environmental Management Coordination Act and other laws which are supposed to be applied in delivering a project. We are going to follow that. And clearly, as you point out, we appreciate that this project will have an effect on the environment. But the way we approach it is that we are going to do it in such a way that there will be no adverse effects to the environment and any adverse effects to the people. Now, this project is actually governed by a very stringent international legal regime. Under international law, we have a number of treaties which will come to bear on how we are going to deliver this program. But beyond that, we also will have to have national laws. For instance, already we have the Nuclear Regulatory Act, which has created the Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Authority as the national regulator of nuclear activities. So that regulator will be able to license activities, and they will only be able to license those activities if they confirm that those activities will not have any adverse effects on the environment and the people.
But then I would like to understand, the same as our viewers would like to understand, how will this affect the environment? But before we get to that, let's take a commercial break. We'll be back with more insights on nuclear energy. This as we engage the CEO for Nuclear Power and Energy Agency, Justus Wabuyabo. See you after a break.
KBC Channel 1 magazine programs strive to disseminate news and information.
Welcome to happening in the world of entertainment
and achievements of individuals navigating through life.
Be parts of the intelligent conversation. Up at KBC Channel 1.
Related to the interest of Kenyan public on various subjects of national importance.
Keeping you up to date with the latest tech news,
challenges, and remarkable stories of individuals with disabilities.
And you have a say.
Our magazine programs empower communities with words for conversations and a common language to approach the world.
For your infotainment needs, we have a great range of programs.
Lovely ball in, 1-on-1! Williams is beaten, he gets a little touch on it, I suspect. As it brushes against his fingertips, it crashes onto the woodwork and he's able to recover. Glorious opportunity for Cape Verde to win it in added time.
Well, Gibson did everything that he needed to do right, but you just give credit to Williams.
Stupendous save from Ronwen Williams. Glorious reactions from Williams normally, but what a delivery. And then the attempted finish. Fantastic. And South Africa can breathe a sigh of relief.
Across Africa, a new era has begun, connecting us with one purpose: to create and share opportunities to grow. Across our continent, across the world, we are creating a better way to a better future. A Pan-African future. Together. EcoBank. A better way, a better Africa.
Welcome back. Thank you for keeping it KBC Channel 1. This afternoon, we are on nuclear energy. On set with us is the CEO for the Nuclear Power and Energy Agency, Justus Wabuyabo. And just before we took the break, Justus, you said that this project is not environment friendly. To what level?
Thank you, Irene, for that. What I said is that a nuclear project is a project that has concerns that one needs to think about. It is not environmentally, it's not unfriendly. The technology we have is that nuclear technology is very safe because as we speak, we are already having the third, fourth generation kind of nuclear technology. If you want to look at it, it's like, you remember when we had the mobile phones coming, we had the S21, like that, and that progression. We now have nuclear technology that is so advanced and so safe that once you have built it, you can actually sleep without any worries. Because of the advanced technology, it can actually be managed by AI technology. And therefore, nuclear technology is very safe and should not be a worry to anyone.
And there have also been concerns. Why should we as a country want to get into this when already we have other countries that have exited owing to certain concerns?
Thank you. And that is a very important question. We actually have, in the history of nuclear, we've had about 3 accidents. But all these 3 accidents have been explained, and the beauty of that is that in the nuclear world, the nuclear community actually works together. And the reasons that cause those accidents have actually been put on the table, and people have been able to understand what happened, for example, in Chernobyl and Fukushima and the 3 Mile accident in the US. And they have actually learned from that and worked together as experts to solve that problem, so that the issues that were experienced in Fukushima and Chernobyl will actually never be seen again, because the technology that is now being developed now has factored in all those concerns. And when a nuclear power plant is actually now being built, those concerns have actually been taken into account, and therefore there's very little risk because of the science that has gone into the development of the modern nuclear power plant.
I'd like you just to take us through, in a nutshell, the benefits of this initiative.
Thank you. A very good question. A nuclear power plant will actually be a game changer for this country. And let me start by saying this. If you look around the world and look at the countries that are called the first world, look at America, Britain, China, France, Korea, and the Western countries, there's one thing that they all have, and that is nuclear technology. With nuclear technology, you actually are able to provide a country with stable, reliable, and affordable electricity. And as we all know, energy is an enabler of literally everything. Running industries, running vehicles, and doing many other things. Therefore, if you have nuclear technology, you will actually be able to sort out the issue of blackouts in this country. We'll never have blackouts. We'll also be able to bring down the cost of electricity and make it affordable. The effect of that is that we'll be able to attract investment. Investors will be able to come in the country and build industries. We'll be, with those industries, we'll actually also be able to do commodities value addition. Because as you know, we generally have produced raw materials and exported to other countries, and they are manufactured, and when they're manufactured, they are sent back as finished products. And that means that we send out our raw materials very cheaply and import back very expensively. That affects our forex balance. But if we were to do commodities value addition in this country, we'll actually be able to look at the issue of not having to spend more dollars outside the country, but actually we'll be bringing more dollars in the country. We'll also be able to create jobs in this country, and we'll be able to create amenities, because where a nuclear power plant will be built, one of the things that will be natural is that the infrastructure of that area will actually be greatly improved. You will have good roads, you will have good schools, you will have good hospitals, and the quality of life for the people will generally be uplifted.
From where we sit, Justus, would you advocate for partnerships?
Yes. A nuclear project cannot be done by a single person. As a country, we need partnerships from the general population. And that is why my organization, NUPEA, is actually out there trying to engage people. As we speak currently, we have a national questionnaire that is going on to ask people about how much they understand the nuclear power program, what they know about it, and what they need to know more, and where they can actually come in to work with us. So we must work with each and every Kenyan. This includes the policymakers, the government, the parliament, the executive, and even the judiciary, and most importantly, the common mwananchi. The second partnership we require is that we will not be able to develop or deliver this technology on our own. This technology is largely foreign. So we will have to network with those countries that are advanced and already have this technology, so that we work with them so that they can be able to support us and guide us how we'll be able to deliver our first nuclear power plant. And therefore, we have signed agreements with MOUs with other nations. We've signed an agreement with the United States of America. We are also working with the Chinese and the Koreans, and we are really open, and even the engagement with other countries that have this technology, so that we work with them. Because as we develop this technology, we'll be having one thing in mind: having the technology for the best interests of Kenyans. So we'll be looking out for a partner that will be able to answer to our interests, that will be able to give us this technology at the right price, that will be able to work with our people, to develop our people, to be able to work in those industries, and to just generally work with us throughout the journey. Because a nuclear program is like a marriage. It's a process that takes 80 years and sometimes more.
In that, you have talked about policies. Time is not on our side. Just one policy that you think our policymakers should emphasize as a country.
Thank you very much. Currently, the most important thing that the country needs to deliver is the national nuclear policy, which we've already done the draft and is at public participation. And the other thing is to make a decision to be able to accede to the nuclear conventions that will allow the international community to deal with us with confidence.
Thank you so much. That is Justus Wabuyabo, the CEO for the Nuclear Power and Energy Agency, NUPEA, giving us an insight on nuclear energy. Looking forward to have you more on set, Mr. Justus. Thank you for your time. Now, in other news, in the world of business, in efforts to boost food security and reduce food imports, 280,000 bags of subsidized fertilizer has been flagged off to farmers in Narok County. Area County Commissioner Ruben Lutiatia warned farmers who had the intention of selling the subsidized fertilizer that they risk arrest for reselling the farm inputs.
The price of fertilizer has been reduced from the previous 6,000 shillings per bag to current 2,500 shillings through the subsidized fertilizer program. The government targets to distribute 7 million bags of fertilizer this year. The distributions has already kicked off, with the farmers in Narok being the latest beneficiaries.
Nimekuwa hapa last week, tumekuwa tukiongea na manager wa hapa kila mara, na fertilizer ikikufika hapa hata uwe ingii kwa store. Inakuja kama magari ya farmers wetu zinasimama tayari kuchukua. Inaonyesha kwamba yenye tunapata hata kama tuko mbele bado haijatutosha.
During the flag of events, farmers were asked to register with Kenya Integrated Agricultural Management Information System to benefit from the government programs.
Ni kwamba kuwakumbusha kwamba kunao wengine labda wakipata wanafanya mambo ya nini, wakipata mbolea badala ya kwenda kutumia mambo ya kulimo kuweka kwa mashamba, wanaanza tena kukua nini, brokers wanaanza kwenda kuuza wale. tafadhali tujihadhari kabisa. Hii mbolea ni ya kufanya wewe mkulima kutumia ili upate mazao ambayo ni sawa sawa.
Farmers call on the government to consider distributing certified seeds through the National Cereal and Produce Board depots.
Ningependa kuwasihi, nimesikia lalamiko la mkulima kwamba alinunua mbegu ambaye haikuwa imesajiliwa. Hiyo ripoti tutafikisha, lakini hakikisha ya kwamba ununue mbegu kwa mahali imesajiliwa kama Kenya Seed ama Agrovets ambazo zinajulikana, kwa sababu ukinunua fertilizer mzuri na utumie mbegu duni utafaidika.
Felix Q, Lunchtime News.
Pastoralists in Kajiado are now calling on the county government to invest more in training herders on modern farming practices, as many have diversified into crop farming to mitigate against droughts.
During the 2021-2022 droughts, more than 1 million livestock died in Kajiado and at least 300 families faced starvation. Most homesteads were left without a single animal, prompting them to change survival tactics.
Ng'ombe zetu zote tumefuata, yote imekufa. Lakini kwa saizi tumepata solution ya hakuna kiangazi tena. Njaa imeisha. Tushajua si ng'ombe tu ndio kitu ambayo ukulima. Wengi wa Masai wamefunzwa na kulingana na hiyo kiangazi yenye imepita, imefunza watu wengi sana. Wengi wamepanda, wameanza mambo ya kulima wa ng'ombe, sasa wako kulima wa chakula.
With the recent rains, most herders tried their hand in crop farming and are currently expecting a bumper harvest.
Mimi nitatoa wito kwa jamii yetu ya Wamasai tusingatie sana mambo ya ukulima. Sababu ukulima inakupatia chakula na utapata mawazo mengine ya kusema nitauza shamba, maana utategemea ukulima na watoto wako watapata chakula katika kisasi inayokuja.
As they transition from pastoralists to irrigation farming, they are now calling on the government to help boost their skills.
Na mimi nina ujuzi tu kidogo. Kama wangepata kufundishwa zaidi ya kwamba ukulima ni ya maana, najua watu wengi wataingia ukulima katika sehemu hii. Maana wamekuwa na hamu.
Edna Murungi for Lunchtime News.
The affordable housing project has kicked off in Busia with a contractor picked to start constructing 880 units in Funyula. Senior Director in the State Department of Housing and Urban Development, Polycarp Onyango, says the project will involve construction of hostels for Alupe University and Kenya Medical Training College in Butla. We apologize for the technical hitch. We are taking a breather. We'll be back with more. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Let's retake the affordable housing news item. The affordable housing project has kicked off in Busia with a contractor picked to start constructing 880 units in Funyula. Senior Director in the State Department of Housing and Urban Development, Polycarp Onyango, says the project will involve construction of hostels for Alupe University and Kenya Medical Training College in Butla.
The President has targeted to put in Busia 10,000 houses under the affordable housing project. On top of that, we're also doing a number of markets under the ESP project.
The Busia County and also the local community. Most of the manual work, we use local people, and whatever material we can buy locally, we prefer to buy from local. So we work together to build Busia.
The investment here of 2.6 billion
is going to probably the biggest investment that has ever happened in Funyula constituency since time immemorial. And we are eager to reap the benefits of this project.
Time for Channel 1 Sports. Nigeria hitman Victor Osimhen is available to play in tonight's 2023 Africa Cup of Nations semi-final against Bafana of South Africa following a fitness scare. The Napoli striker's presence had initially appeared to be in doubt after he failed to fly to Bouake for Abidjan with the rest of the squad due to abdominal discomfort. The semi-final matches will be televised live on KBC Channel 1 and all KBC radio stations.
The reigning African Player of the Year missed training this week, having been substituted last in Nigerians' quarter-final win over Angola last weekend. The 25-year-old has been outstanding for the Super Eagles at the tournament despite only scoring 1 goal in the opening 1-1 draw with Equatorial Guinea.
Goals for 3 points to take.
Meanwhile, Ivory Coast interim coach Emas Faye has urged his team to go into Wednesday African Cup of Nations semi-final against the RC with the mindset that has allowed the host to make a miraculous recovery from the brink of elimination at the tournament. The semi-final matches will be televised live on KBC Channel 1 and all KBC radio stations. For Lunchtime News, I'm Sela Onyango.
I'll tell you what, Daniel, no.
Southampton's Sekou Mara's double strike helped the Saints register a comfortable 3-0 FA Cup fourth round win over Watford. Saints will play Liverpool in the fifth round, while Leeds, who secured a 4-1 win over Plymouth Argyle while scoring 3 goals in the extra time, will take on Chelsea or Aston Villa, who are set to meet tonight at Villa Park. AFCON Eco KBC, be sure to keep it KBC Channel 1. And on that note, we have come to the end of Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your feedback on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. My name is Irene Muchuma Odem. On sign language interpretation, we have Lensa Odingo. On behalf of the entire team behind this broadcast, thank you for your time. Good afternoon.